Hey guys, so Alec back here again, and a very important topic for today is markup and margin. And a lot of small and even some mid-sized business owners use those terms interchangeably, which isn't correct. One does not mean the other. They are related, but it's important to understand the difference between the two and how that can affect your pricing. So without any further ado, let's get into it. Let's use an example to show how this works. So this one's pretty straightforward. Let's just assume something that we're selling is worth $80 cost. And we want to make 20% profit. Our selling price is going to be 80 plus 20, 100. Okay? Now let's look at what is a markup percentage. Markup percentage is your profit divided by cost. Okay, so in our example, 20 divided by 80 is a quarter or 25%. So markup percent is profit divided by cost. Profit margin, though, is not the same, and the difference is it's profit divided by the selling price. And that is your true percentage in terms of dollars that you're going to be putting in the bank in terms of how you're pricing things. So it's not the markup. So 25% markup results in a 20% margin. So if you're constantly using markup, you've got a percentage spread between your markup percent and your actual profit that's going in your bank account. This is the key thing to understand and remember. So let's use an example. And what I have highlighted here in blue is the basic formula, but let's understand what the formula is telling us. So if we take our selling price and we chip away all the, looking at it as a discount. So we take our selling price and then we discount it. So we subtract some discount to bring us back to our break even or our cost. That's how this formula works. And all the individual items in that formula can be rearranged. So let's say, going back to our example here, we want a 20% profit margin. We want to make 20%. Cost of our product is $80. When we use this formula and rearrange it, we see that our selling price is equal to our cost divided by 1 minus the profit margin percent. The 1 is really 100%. So 100%, looking over here, this is the 1, but we convert it into a decimal, which is over here 80. Remember, our cost is $80. 1 minus, we wanted 20%. 1 minus 20%. 1 minus 20% is 1 minus 0.2, which gives us 0.8. So $80 divided by 0.8 is $100. So if, for example, you wanted a 10% profit margin, what would you do? You'd say $80 divided by 1 minus 10%, which is 0.9. So our 0.8 would now be 0.9. If you wanted 30%, what does that work out to? 1 minus 30%, this would be 0.7. Okay? So that's how that works. It's as simple as that. You want to work with margin. Now, if you're not comfortable working with margin, we have a solution. Here's a margin versus markup table. Now, let's look at that table. Let's look at our example where we had a 20% margin and 25% markup. So here's your margin, here's your markup. Okay? There's a 5% spread between the two. So if I want to get a 20% margin, I got to multiply by my cost by 1.25. If I want to get a 30% margin, I got to multiply my cost by almost 1.43. And what you'll notice here at the lower numbers, the small margins, the difference between margin and markup is pretty small. But the higher you go in terms of margin, you see that the spread between markup and margin is increasing. So here we've got a 5% difference. There's 5% between the margin and the markup, but look over here. Look over here. That's almost 27% difference. 27%. So that's why it's important to use margin, because these numbers in the desired margin here. Whoops. Jump one slide ahead here a little too fast. The desired margin in this column, as you see here, that is going to be what you're going to be putting in the bank if you hit your numbers on your costs are correct, not your markup. Okay, so this is a quick table. If you're more comfortable with markups, just look at what margin you want. Let's say here 25% margin. I got to multiply my cost by 1.333. Okay, it's as simple as that. Now, fun fact of the day. All right. So there's a lake in Chad, mostly in Chad. It was kind of straddling some other countries here. But you see here that the lake is actually pretty small right now. But it was at one point, not too long ago, less than 5,000 years ago. It seems by history, by analysis, what scientists have figured out is it's even sooner than that this was the case. The lake was Mega Chad, and you can't really see the size on this picture. But the interesting thing about that is that if you compare that to the size of the Great Lakes, this was at one point the largest freshwater lake in the world. And the Great Lakes are approximately 94,000 square miles. This lake was 139,000 square miles. So it was about 47% bigger than all of the Great Lakes combined. So it was a massive lake. There's still a lake there, but it's much, much, much smaller, even though it's still a large lake, relatively speaking. So what's interesting about this is the dust from that ancient lake is being kicked up by the wind, and that dust is traveling all the way from Africa. And what it's doing is it's helping to fertilize the Amazon rainforest, because of all the rains that are falling in the rainforest. It washes away a lot of the nutrients, and many of those nutrients are being replenished by the dust coming across the ocean from that ancient lake. So I thought it was an interesting fun fact. Hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you learned something from this video, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to share, subscribe, and ring the bell down below for the latest videos coming your way to help you improve your small or mid-sized business. Until next time, keep raising your profit.